speaking with an accomplished sales and marketing professional with nearly 2 decades of experience.
Executed the Garnier campaign for the Republic. We had to build authentic and empathetic stories about our because corporate governance is the main soul of the organization in today. That's how we balance the short term as well as the long term objectives of our organization.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by DirectorsInstitute, World Council of Directors. I'm esteemed, and in today's session, we have the honor of speaking with an accomplished sales and marketing professional with nearly 2 decades of experience. He has an expertise spanning across various domains, including BTL activations, business development, public relations, and media communication, to name a few. Currently serving as an account director at Strategic Growth Advisors Private Limited, it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Vaibhav Shah to the podcast. Hi, Mr. Shah, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, and thank you for welcoming me.
We're very excited to talk to you and to get to know more about your journey. So let's quickly
I'm
begin.
equally excited to talk to you on this.
Mr. Shah, event marketing is the key to creating unforgettable brand experiences. How have you leveraged BTL activities to create meaningful, impactful brand experiences for clients across diverse sectors?
So below the line activations are very crucial for brands to get direct connect with the customers. So I and it is done not only for the customers, but it is also done to push your brands through channel partners to your sales team, which actually directly talks to your end users about the brands as well as the products. I spearheaded a campaign with Femina for Crystal Kitchenware, where we did a MasterChef event across the malls in Delhi and Mumbai.
Wow.
Similarly, during the Maybelline New York, during the Onam, we had a Onam greetings from Maybelline New York, which helps the customers, the local Malayali customers, to get connect with the Maybelline New York beauty products in Cochin. In Chennai, I strategically executed the Garnier campaign for Republic Day. That is a Republic Day celebration across supermarkets in Chennai. This actually built emotional bonds with the customers.
Yeah, super inspiring and super great. Like you've worked with such big brands.
Yes.
Um, Moving on, the art of business development lies in seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. Do you have any such example where, when you identified and you capitalized on a business opportunities that probably other people overlooked?
One of my very senior manager that I worked with in previous organization taught me one good lesson. That is that art of business development or art of sales is not making 10 calls per day, but it is making 4 to 5 highly effective calls when per day, and doing the research about your end consumer or the b2, if you're involved in the b2b, it is the about the business that you are going to make a contact for the potential client as a
Yeah.
potential client. Now, doing a research also requires that you internally integrate with the other verticals within the organization, which also helps in providing certain inputs about our potential clients,
Yeah.
as well as doing extensive research about the clients. Now, this helps in building up a story while pitching to the potential clients, and that's how you try to pursue the clients to take your services or the products that you are trying to pitch to them. I particularly had instances in my when I was working for a retail giant.
Hmm.
I we have to pursue the FMCG companies who wanted to do a mall animation during their product launch. So we had to build a compelling story where we have to provide certain numbers about the brand activation, how it going to help in the sales figure, also the
Yeah.
number of customers that are going to connect to the brands that they make animations activations during the uh, launch product launch.
I mean, I completely resonate with that. I've also done some business development in my career, and there's so much difference between making 100 calls versus
Yes.
making like 3 or 4 calls, which might just, help you make cover all your targets and get all the business that you need.
And it's also effective when we are trying to talk authenticity, trying to build authenticity in our business
Yeah.
talks, so
Yeah.
that the customer across the board is able to understand, is able to connect with what we are going to talk, and he or she knows that this person actually has done certain kind of work that grows.
And that cannot happen if you don't do your research.
Yes,
So, but I think a lot of people think that business development is only cold calling, cold calling, cold calling, cold calling, and that's
but
where,
it's not that.
yeah. So moving on, when it comes to PR, every crisis can be molded into an opportunity. Can you share an instance where you have turned a potential PR crisis into a positive outcome for your client?
So recently, the COVID-19 it was the biggest crisis for companies as well as the PR industry as such. In that, the communicate for the communication professionals across the board, either it is an agency or within the companies. And I particularly got opportunity to service one of the dairy cooperative giant, well-known FMCG company, as well as a pharma major. And all these three categories fell into the essential list of the items where the operations couldn't be stopped for even for a hour for those particular categories. Now, the newspapers, the print publications were closed because of the lockdowns. We had to depend on the social media or the electronic coverage, electronic media, in terms of telling our stories or putting out our own narratives. What are the actual situations on the ground? And social media, there were a lot of misinformation being spread across the platforms in terms of targeting certain targeting through vested interest. So we had to build authentic and empathetic stories about our clients, the partner, communication partner. We build the authenticity through regular communications to the media and talking about what is the actual situation of the operations that are happening. Because again, COVID was a challenge where the employees might get affected. So that would also be a potential threat from the market perception that how this company is operating or how the operations are carried on. And this actually helped us to understand that every crisis situation, it is first the acceptance of the crisis is a major role catalyst that helps in making authentic communication to the market, to the stakeholders, and this helps us in developing a good rapport or a good perception about our own company or the brands that we do.
It's, I think, turning a crisis into a positive outcome is not easy. And like, kudos to you because it shows your expertise in the field that you are a part of. Moving on to corporate governance, now that I think you have, I believe you've gained experience in and expertise in corporate governance as well. How are you planning to apply these skills to enhance the ethical and operational frameworks of the companies that you collaborate with?
So normally we get demotivated or disillusionment when our athletes or sports person are mistreated or they miss out certain medals due to some goof ups or some other mistreatments happening at an international competition. And this disillusionment is also evident with the various stakeholders when a company has to go with the crisis for governance or the governance lapses that happens, corporate governance lapses that happens. And definitely, this is not a good sign for the society or for the organization or the leadership capabilities that is there at the helm of the organization or the companies. And this kind of crisis is not an overnight situation. So if you consider that uh, corporate governance crisis is happening at overnight, it's not, is a built up of regular mistakes or misinterpretations or mis things that's been not highlighted or being done by few individuals and shouldered by many others. Through my expertise in ESG as well as the communication, I tried to build, uh, I tried to change the perception about the corporate governance, because corporate governance is the main soul of the organization in today's world. And if we have to change that, we need to actually go through the depth of the corporate governance in terms of our own outreach, our public behavior, the corporate communication, that internal that happens within the organization, as well as the culture that we are trying to build within the organization.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree with you when you say that corporate governance nowadays it is the soul of your organization. Everything flows from that. Your values of the companies will also flow from that. So, very true. Thank you for sharing that. So, business development is a marathon and not a sprint. I am assuming you would agree with that.
Definitely, the business development is a everyday learning process, I would say, and it's on the individual that he or she has thirst for learning.
Yeah.
It's just not that we are meeting people and getting door closed or the sales is not happening, but also there are learnings that can be put up in new calls or new channels or customers, and these learnings has to be ingrained or imbibed by the person who's doing a business development job, or probably the sales
Correct.
that he is taking up.
And like you rightly mentioned, that it's you have to do your research. It's not about just quick results, but it's something that you have to be patient with. So, but keeping that in mind, how do you balance your short-term gains with long-term objectives?
See, every business has a common principle, and that basic principle is 80/20. So your 80% of the business comes from the 20% of the consumers or the customers. And we have to make sure that we service this 20% of the customers exceptionally well. So to service this 20% of the customers, we have to look at what are the benchmarks that we have internally created or we have set, and we have to actually come above those benchmarks. So every time we have to beat our own targets in terms of servicing those 20% of the customers, which means that 80% of our business is secured. And during this turning out or during this process of service in the 20% of the customer, we learn certain new things which helps us in bringing those 20% of the business coming from the new customers. So this is a everyday situation, and for the short term gain, it is those 20% of the customers which helps us in making our base. And through long term approach, in the long term, we restructure our sales or business development strategy, where we try to bring in new processes, or we review our processes which helps us catering to the larger market requirements. And that's how we tem- take the short term, or that's how we balance the short term as well as the long term objectives of our organization.
I feel like this requires a lot of prioritization, and I am getting a sense that you do it very well. Now, on to my last question. Having selected Directors Institute as your partner in pursuing your boardroom aspirations, how do you feel about the curriculum and the support that you've received so far?
Actually, 20 years back, I did my PGDBM, and now after that, I again reconnect with academia through Directors Institute. It actually reignited my passion for academia
Yeah.
and give me valuable insights in terms of what probably I've missed through my corporate tenure or the things, and reconnected that bond with the academia, that institutions, and brought my those hostel days again back. So that help in terms of not only just providing the story curricula with the ESG, but also helps in the in-depth analysis of the companies that we have to work during this case studies and all. And that helped me in terms of where I can apply all those insights that I've gained through Director Institutes, and especially Mr. Jayamurthy sir. This helped me in terms of bringing now those insights into my everyday corporate communication with the clients.
Yes. Thank you so much for the feedback,
Thank you.
and I wish you all the best for the new academia journey that you have undertaken. I deeply appreciate the enlightening conversation that we've had and your thoughtful responses throughout. I wish you all the best. I had a lovely time, so thank you so much.
Thank
Uh, we look forward to sharing more inspiring stories and insights from remarkable leaders in our next session. Until then, keep upskilling and finding joy in your journeys. Thank you for
thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.